And in terms of like looking at the idea itself,
Yeah.
what would be, if you had two ideas, what would you look and in terms of this is a better idea than the other idea?
For me, it changes. I don't think I can just say, you know, this idea or that idea. I think one of the things I really look for is someone building a product or a product or a company that's focused on a market that's growing or that will grow because that product exists. I don't really love products that are entering super mature markets because at that point startups lose a lot of their, you know, a lot of their nimbleness and a lot of their advantages. Because if you're going into a mature market, basically what gets you noticed is advertising dollars.
Right.
And you're just fighting for a slice of a pre-existing pie. But if you build something that's going to cause a market to grow or building something for a market that is growing, you're fighting for a slice of an ever-expanding pie. And that is so much more interesting. It lets you play around more, the rules aren't written, there's all these things you can do. So I like those kinds of things more. But that's not to say that there aren't great businesses to be built in mature markets as well. And it also depends on how you think about what's a mature market, what's not. And then I also like companies that make me think, honestly, that make me look at a problem from a brand new perspective. Something that makes me say, huh, I didn't realize you could do that.
Very cool.
You know, that's tough to do, right? Because we spend all day thinking about ideas and thinking about new companies. But when you see one of those, that's the kind of thing that you get really excited about.
So what would be an example of an early stage market versus a mature market?
So mature market, and this is kind of a silly example, but junk food or something like that is like a pretty mature market, right? So if a company came to us and said, I'm going to make a new kind of potato chip. Now there's a bunch of reasons we probably wouldn't fund it. But one of the things is just like, all right, it's potato chips. What more can you do? Now, you look at the last 10 years, and we'll look at Pringles, right? They built a really big company, I think. I actually don't know how big they are. You know, they built a big company, but it's primarily a marketing challenge. You know, in software, there's some things that are also mature markets. So CRM, right? Customer Relationship Management software. It's actually a pretty mature market. Now, Salesforce disrupted it in a lot of ways to build a very large company. And there's still things that can be done, but it takes something really insightful and really new to figure out how to build the next great CRM company. And I think there will be more of them. It's just a lot harder. So not to say it's a bad idea, but it takes a little more thinking and a little more, I think a much deeper insight. You know, some newer markets that are really immature, one that I like to think about, drones. You know, everyone likes to talk about them, but I think it was something like 500,000 drones were sold last year, and the market's growing by some ridiculous percentage every single year. That is such an underdeveloped market. And when you think about all the applications that drones have yet to touch, it's kind of mind-boggling. I mean, we're talking everything from crop analysis, right? Flying a drone over a field, which they typically do with fixed-wing aircraft now, just to see how healthy crops are, all the way to tracking shots in movies. You know, there's kind of like all these things, and we don't know what that's going to do. Not to mention, you know, unmanned drones giving the internet to places, which, you know, Facebook and Google are both working on, or transporting people.
Right.
I don't know.
That's going to be cool.
It's going to be really cool.